Lights, camera, action. I would just like to welcome everyone to Body-Wise Bodywork. Here we are. Thank you very much to talk about adrenal fatigue. What's amazing about adrenal fatigue is that there are symptoms that so many people aren't aware of. It's Facebook Friday. I'm live. And I would just like to mention that it is the start of Labor Day weekend, so you all have a safe weekend. If you're out hiking, if you go out swimming and you come back not feeling as wonderful as when you started, feel free to book an appointment next week. Speaking of swimming, I went swimming last night for 2 hours with my children, and I've got a headache. If anyone has any clues as to why I would come up with a headache, that would be awesome if you let me know in the comments below. And speaking of swimming, I met with Corey of orcaswim.com. I would like to shout out to her. Corey, great to meet with you last week. Corey's got an amazing program. She found me because she was doing some searches, and I've been talking about my greatest fear. One of my fears is not a fear of water, I discovered, although I thought that's what it was. One of my fears, the biggest fear in my life, is the fear of drowning. And so Corey found me. Corey spoke with me about her program called Miracle Swimming. If anyone else has a fear of swimming or drowning, get in touch with Corey at Orca Swim and her program Miracle Swimming. That's a shout out to Corey. I would just like to move on to adrenal fatigue. For years I had adrenal fatigue and did not know it. Let me tell you some of the symptoms, which include, from this piece of paper right here, fatigue, low motivation, heart rate changes, low heart rate, blood pressure changes, brain fog, one of my symptoms, brain fog, feeling cold all the time. I was chronically cold all the time. Inability to lose weight, that's another one that I have. Constipation, which falls in the category of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, does not just include chronic runs to the bathroom, but lack of going to the bathroom. Sugar intolerance, which is one of mine. Insomnia, not one of mine. I would sleep, not only would I get to sleep pretty quickly, but I would sleep very hard and not wake up very well in the morning. Still struggling with that. Craving salty food is another symptom. And this is a shout out for Ann Williams. Ann Williams, one of the symptoms of fatigue and adrenal fatigue is postural orthostatic tachycardia. So Ann Williams, we are on the right track when we talk about your zona glomerulus, which she and I discussed last Saturday. Also a shout out to Malacastrand. Malacastrand, fibromyalgia, and some of the symptoms of fibromyalgia are definitely a part of trouble with the adrenals functioning properly. I have a comment from Jackie Farrow. Hey, Jackie Farrow, thanks so much for letting me know. She mentioned that my headache after swimming may be due to dehydration. Being in the water does put you under the condition of, not osmosis, what's the other one? There's more water in the pool than there is water in you, and so it can actually pull some of the water out of your body. So she recommends that I drink more water. Thanks, Jackie Farrow, for that. I appreciate it. I don't believe dehydration was one of my one of the reasons why I had trouble with a headache after swimming, but I will mention the last symptom I'm going to talk about regarding adrenal fatigue. And by the way, there is a man on the internet named Dr. Lam, L-A-M. He has a list of 75 symptoms of adrenal fatigue, so feel free to check that out. One of the symptoms of adrenal fatigue is electrolyte imbalance, and as you know, if you're in water, you're using quite a bit of energy, using more muscles than you might otherwise, and if your electrolytes are not perfectly balanced, that could cause headaches. So Jackie Farrow, thanks for the tip on dehydration. I think it's probably more likely electrolytes, and I've taken my electrolytes this morning. So what do you do about your adrenal fatigue? I will share with you the things that I've done regarding my adrenal fatigue. But I recommend first get yourself tested. The test for adrenal function is very easy. I believe it's called ADP test. It's pretty simple. All you do is put a piece of cotton under your tongue at certain times of the day, and make sure you're not eating things like broccoli and garlic and cauliflower on those days. That's all right. That just changes the test results. Number one, get tested. Number two, look for the right answers. My husband and his assistance and desire to help me for years recently recommended that I may have Hashimoto's. I do not believe I have Hashimoto's, but once you find the list, check off the things that may apply to you, and look further into those, into resources to help you with those things. Do thorough researching, please get tested, and lastly, take care of yourself, be responsible. Adrenal fatigue is not something you have to live with, it is something that you can change. I will tell you some of the things that I do to change it. Number one, in the evenings I found herbs help me. This herb called Adrenasense has in particular ashwagandha and a few other things. Let's see, rhodiola, I think, is also beneficial. I take 2 of those at night before I go to bed. Makes it much easier for me to wake up in the morning. I have a shout out to Molly Katz, K-A-U-T-Z, of New Start Nutrition. Molly gave me something called ADB5 Plus. I take 1 of those in the morning. That has actually pushed me further toward better health regarding my adrenals than all the other things combined. I did not stop doing the other things that I do for my fatigue and chronic low adrenal function, but this one is a good one. What does that tell me? This is a good one, and it tells me I need animals. This has B vitamins, which I knew I needed already, magnesium, zinc, manganese. I also recommend that you get your vitamin B levels tested to make sure they're up to par. I take a complex B multiple times a day just because I have to. I'd also like to share with you that vitamin D, especially if you're in the Pacific Northwest, is an important vitamin for us to have. I have to supplement that in myself. I take 5,000 international units of vitamin D. And the last thing that's been very helpful with multiple symptoms I have is vitamin C. You can see this vitamin C is the Super Supplements brand vitamin C. I take that in addition to baking soda. So both of those things help, not just vitamin C alone, but the vitamin C mixed with baking soda is wonderful. I would like to give a couple more shout outs as I wind up here. One to Rebecca Johnson, have a safe trip in Spain, and I owe you the name of that chiropractor. Jeanette Williams, I would love to encourage you, and I'm excited to hear about your new opportunity. Jeanette Williams is my sister in personal training therapy down in Texas. Molly Katz of New Start Nutrition, thanks for this ADB5 Plus. I so appreciate it. Malaka Strand, I want you to look into your adrenals because fibromyalgia is one of the symptoms, and I'm curious to find out if supporting your adrenals will help with some of the other symptoms that you've been having. Also, I just want to say, Ann Williams, keep on the adrenal journey. Find out what's going on with your adrenals to improve your electrolytes and heart rate and the other symptoms you have, because salt is right up there on the list too. Just want to remind you as we wrap up, think head-wise, feel body-wise, and move heart-wise. That's it. I'll see you next week for another Facebook Live on Friday.